Hi angels, welcome to Earth Angel Energy. I'm the Earth Angel and today I'm bringing you another pick a card reading, and today's topic is what do people assume about you? So when they interact with you, when they meet you, what do people assume? And I have 3 piles for you. Pile number 1, pile number 2, and pile number 3. So go ahead and take a second, see which pile resonates with you, and we can go ahead and get started. Hi, pile 1. So if you chose the first pile, then this is your reading on when people meet you, when they interact with you, what do they assume about you? And honestly, I'm seeing a lot of really good positive assumptions. So first and foremost, with the Empress here, you look good. You look like you take very good care of yourself. There's something very mature and upright about you. I just heard like model citizen. So you kind of have that vibe where when people meet you and people interact with you, once again, you kind of give off this very upright, upstanding kind of energy. You're also very attractive as well, too. Now, with the Empress, though, I'm getting that people also assume there's something about you not only looking really good, but looking very well put together. Like, people do assume that you have quite a bit of substance behind just your exterior as well. Like good morals, maybe good manners. You're very kind, you're very respectful. And people really feel like that's like that's genuinely you. It feels very authentic. Also with the 7 of Pentacles, people could assume that you were raised quite well because of the way that you carry yourself. People could also either assume that you're like traveled, worldly, or there's something here where people could assume that you have like an interesting background or an interesting family history. With the Judgment, people could assume that you might be a little bit like critical of others, or maybe even like a little bit judgmental. It's not really like in a super negative way though. But once again, you just carry yourself in just like this very upright, upstanding. I'm getting almost like this renowned energy. People could assume that you are like well received or well liked in your family, in your community, to the people around you. And I'm sure you've had those moments where you see someone who like looks really well dressed and really well taken care of, and you just can't help but assume like, oh yeah, this person is a respectable person. That's what I'm getting. I feel like people assume that you are a very respectable person in your day-to-day life. People could also assume that you're very financially stable. But with the Queen of Pentacles and the 7 of Pentacles, I feel like you look well put together, well taken care of, but it's not like over the top. There's really nothing like overly extravagant about you. I feel like you have a really nice balance here. So people could also assume that you're good with money, or like you don't overspend, especially if you've been in situations where maybe you're out like at a shop or at like a fair, farmer's market or something like that. You seem very discerning with your purchases as well. But there's this assumption like you could spend more money than you do, but you don't just kind of throw your money around willy-nilly, if that makes sense. The Fool, you do have a light-hearted energy about you though. You don't seem like overworked. You don't seem stressed at all. People could assume that you have like a very stable, peaceful life. Now, when it comes to your family relationships, if there's people who know like you or your parents or your family members, people could also assume, especially for your mother, but I'm getting for parents in general, that your parents are really proud of you, very fond of you. I'm almost getting this like ideal child energy. So there could be people who are around like your parents' age, especially if they know your parents or grandparents, any like older family members who really feel like, oh man, like they kind of hit the jackpot. Like that's a great daughter, that's a great son. You could either be very accomplished, very polite, take good care of yourself, or be like involved with your family in some way. There's something here where people assume that your parents are very proud of you. Queen of Wands, very attractive though, as I split the deck, very fiery. People could assume, so this is kind of your outward energy, but people could assume that maybe when you're like by yourself, or if you're kind of in a more intimate setting, if you're with your partner or with close friends, people could assume that you kind of have a fierier energy behind the scenes. So you keep yourself very like well put together in public, but there's something about you. I don't know why I don't know. If people are thinking of you this way, I'm going to be honest, people could assume that you could like I just heard throw down in the bedroom. I don't know what that came from. Yeah, once again, it's a milder energy, but it is kind of giving me a little bit of an energy of like lady in the streets or like gentleman in the streets, you know, like freaking the sheets kind of energy. I'll be honest. But once again, it's not a super pronounced energy. With the Empress, I do think people find you very attractive. With the Queen of Pentacles, though, so Queen of Pentacles and the Empress especially are very much like wifey material, husband material. So people assume that you have the whole package. Like when you're out and about, you carry yourself very well, you dress very well, you could be a little bit more modest. But they assume, you know, when you're in private, that people assume that you are exciting. Like you carry yourself, you know, in an upright, well-mannered way. But there's nothing boring about you. But it's like you're not going to really share that wild side with everyone, but people do assume that you have a little bit of a wild side. The Sun, very fun, happy-go-lucky energy here. You could be very friendly. You could smile a lot. People assume that you're happy. Oh, Page of Wands. People could think that you're a little bit younger than you are, but it's not like super. Yeah, the Sun. Like if you're 30, people could assume you're like 25. Or if you're like 50, people could assume you're like 40. But there's still something mature about you as well. Two of Cups, people also assume either you're in love or a lot of people love you. If you're in a relationship, people assume that you and your partner are very in love with each other. And this could be energy coming in for you. And again, the Queen of Wands. Two of Cups. People could assume, oh, with the Ten of Cups. Okay, just as I said that. What's under the Tower? The Magician. Oh, okay. Number one, I do also see that people assume that you like know how to keep your partner happy. Like you're a good partner. So like you're loving, you're thoughtful. There's something here where people just assume like you will definitely do your part in a loving relationship to kind of keep it loving. Now with the Tower to the Magician, I'm curious about that. Interesting. Okay, so the Tower and the Magician, the Tower is kind of like sometimes it's a catastrophic energy or kind of bringing the Tower down, right? With the Magician, which is manifesting. So manifesting a Tower energy for the Nine of Pentacles and the Ace of Wands. Let's see what's under that. Ooh, okay, Knight of Pentacles and the Queen of Cups. I don't know why people are assuming this, but okay, I just heard, okay. People are assuming if you wanted to, you could disrupt other people's relationships. Like if you wanted to, you could make someone be single or choose to be single just from like attraction to you, but you don't. I don't know why that's coming through, but I think there's something about the way that you carry yourself. Like I'll just be honest. I'll tell you from my like personal life, I am never overly friendly with other people's husbands. If someone's in a relationship, if someone has a wife, I'm never overly friendly. Like that's just me personally. I don't really judge anyone who chooses to do that. I don't really know why you would. But as someone who's in a relationship, I would never want someone to overstep my boundaries. So I would never do that as well. And I do feel like if that resonates for you, if you kind of keep a decent distance and keep things pretty respectful, I'm just getting specifically, if you're a woman with other people's husbands or boyfriends, if you're a man with other people's wives or girlfriends, if you like keep it cordial, you know, don't get overly friendly. I do see that people notice that and actually appreciate it, because I think you look really good. Yeah, Nine of Wands, Queen of Swords, and the Eight of Cups. People could assume that you have this level of like discernment and respectfulness because, I don't know, it's like you recognize. Okay, once again, your energy feels very upright. Like if you look at these cards, this is like a very like upright, forthcoming person, very clean energy. People assume that you don't like, I just heard like dirty energy. So what is dirty energy? Dirty energy is usually like the Seven of Swords, like deceptiveness. Dirty energy can be like the Three of Swords, Three of Cups, like an unfaithful energy. That to me, I would consider like dirty energy. And people feel like you just don't want to deal with like mess, drama, like you just wouldn't engage with that. People assume that you just don't engage in that kind of energy. Let's see. Yeah, Devil with the Queen of Wands. The Ten of Cups, exactly. This is wild. I don't know who these people are. Okay. Yeah, once again, there's this feeling of like people assuming you could be toxic, like you could cause problems or trouble in people's lives, but you don't. And there's something here with your attractiveness. I heard for some of you, your body, if you're like a woman, you could have a very nice body. If you're a man, I just heard you could be like really like either built or tall or like just have, I heard someone has nice eyes as well too. People assume that you choose to not be toxic. It's like a nice energy, actually. The Lovers, you choose not to be toxic. Three of Cups, or no, Three of Pentacles. Three of Pentacles instead of the Three of Cups, once again. Seven of Wands in the Tower. Magician. Okay. And last thing I will say, kind of going along with that energy, people do assume that the reason you kind of don't get caught up in a lot of like messy situations is because either in the past like those kind of energies have been brought to you, something about like kind of like having learned a lesson or something. People could assume that people just kind of like have feelings for you or fall for you without you really having to do much. It's almost this question of like, I'm just imagining like a very beautiful or very handsome person, but they're not like overly flirty. They're not like, you know, they're being very respectful, very, I just heard demure, like reserved. And I don't know why, but it just sparks people's curiosity. They're like, why? Maybe because they've met a lot of people who look good and they're like, you know, all up in people's faces or trying to talk to people's partners. And people are surprised that you're not like that. But people assume that like you just don't want to cause problems, like you don't want drama, or you've experienced that kind of drama in the past and you don't want to deal with it. Five of Wands, yeah, like you don't want the conflict, you don't want the drama. If anything, people kind of assume that you are like almost against that kind of energy. Like if somebody else's partner wanted to like, you know, talk to you or like hit on you, like you would like actually like be aggravated or like be really upset about it. Nine of Cups with the Justice once again. People assume that you're very like disciplined when it comes to your energy and the things that you participate in. Like you will place like morality over like very short-sighted pleasures, like ego. Once again, it's just giving me that energy of like, you know, some people who are in a very low vibration will get their ego stroked if someone's like husband is looking at them or something. But people assume that like you don't like that at all. Like it bothers you. And I'll be honest, I'll be very real with all of you. Like if I ever feel that energy of someone's partner like looking at me in that way, it does make me uncomfortable. It makes me sad and kind of angry. I'm not gonna lie, me personally. Now if you're single and you think I'm attractive, like that's cool, that's a nice compliment. But I do get really bothered when I feel that energy of someone else's partner looking at me in that way. It makes me really sad, honestly. And so that might resonate for you. I feel like this is a pretty, also a common energy as you raise your vibration. That energy of like adultery and stuff is just going to be kind of repulsive to you. I know it's the same for me. But all in all, I feel like people have a lot of respect for you. I feel like people do place you on a pedestal, but not just because you look so good or because you seem to really take really good care of yourself, but also because you have a level of morality and respect that I think is kind of rare nowadays. I think it's very beautiful. It's very powerful. And I definitely know that God is very proud of you for being in this energy as well. So keep it up. Beautiful, blessed energy. That's what I have for you, Pawan. Really, really nice, like very solid, very mature, uplifting energy. Really, I admire you so much, Pawan. That's what I have for you. Really nice. So I do hope this resonated. I hope this was helpful for you. You can feel free to check out the other piles. If you're curious, you can watch one of my other videos. You can check out my Patreon for exclusive videos and conversations. And of course, you can always book a personal reading with me if you would like me to read the energy in your situation. But thank you so much, Power and beautiful energy. And until I see you next time, stay safe, stay blessed, and God bless you. Hi, Pile 2. So if you chose a second pile, then this is your reading on what do people assume about you. Okay, so let's get some of the general stuff I'm seeing right away, because I'm seeing some also kind of interesting, complex things happening as well. So people are assuming, number one, that you are very financially stable here with the King of Pentacles. Four of Pentacles, though. So people could assume, once again, it's kind of reminding me of pile one, where you're not very like extravagant and flashy about it. Like, you look well taken care of, but you also look like someone who doesn't like overspend, or like you'll definitely hold on to your money, which honestly nowadays I think is a pretty good thing. I think you can be generous at times, but people definitely assume that you are very cautious and discerning with how you kind of give your money out. Now, with the Page of Wands in reverse and the Ten of Wands, people could assume that you have a lot of responsibilities. You do seem like you handle it well, but you kind of give me the energy of somebody who doesn't fully share how much they've got going on or how much they're managing in their life. Now, with the Page of Wands in reverse, this is reminding me of, with the King of Pentacles and the Ten of Wands, I'm sure you've met people like this, but I'm being reminded of movies. Why am I being reminded of the movie Rushmore, I think, by Wes Anderson? It's one of his early movies, but it's about this boy who's in high school, but he's like very like mature, acts very like, you know, very serious, very astute. With the Page of Wands, let's get one more because, yeah, Six of Pentacles. Okay, I'll be honest. I think there's something about you where your energy seems more mature than you physically are. So, like, say for instance, like if you're in your like 20s, but you like are very responsible, maybe you have your own business, or you own your own home, have your own apartment, like, you know, you like take really good care of yourself, you're investing, or you could be like 40s or 50s, but you have like a really nice like investment portfolio, or you dress like very, very like nicely. Like, there's something here, and that doesn't have to be your exact situation. I do highly recommend for everyone to invest what they can and save what they can, but there's something here where people feel like you kind of have to put on a little bit more of like a mature aura in order to be taken seriously. I'm also seeing either someone who's like shorter or like kind of more baby faced, or there's something where people feel like you project a more mature energy to be taken more seriously. Now, you're doing it well, and I'm not sure why this is coming through. Or like you could be like a woman where you want to be like more taken seriously, like professionally. Or like you could be a man where maybe, you know, if you were a little bit older or a little bit like further, that like there's something here about you dressing the way you want to be perceived. It's like show up the way you want to be seen in the world, but the way that you show up is like more advanced. I just keep like imagining that kid. I think the movie's called Rushmore, where like there's a strong level of like maturity and confidence that he projects because he wants to be seen that way, even though everybody's like, oh, like you're still a kid, or oh, you're still young kind of energy. Now, let's get to some more, because there's a lot of like complex things happening here for you, pile two. So this could be people who know you a little bit better. Okay, Queen of Wands, King of Cups, and the King of Pentacles. People could be assuming that you have multiple suitors or multiple people who are into you or attracted to you. People could even assume with the Ten of Wands and the Four of Pentacles, you kind of have to like fight off suitors, or like Page of Wands in reverse. There's something of a slightly rebellious energy with the Page of Wands in reverse and the Ten of Wands. It's like trying to prove people wrong or get a hold of the narrative around you. People could assume, I mean, with the Queen of Wands, you could have been you could be a very attractive person now, but people could assume that, like, you know those people who get like a lot of attention from the opposite sex growing up, and it's like, I want to be seen as more than that. Like, I want to be seen for my brain or something like that. Judgment. Three of Swords. Yeah. I'm getting a lot of movie references, so I'm just going to really try to describe this as best as I can to you, because it's a very complicated energy. I think you're a complex person. Okay, but it's okay. So, you know those movies in like the early 2000s where like it would kind of be the nerdy girl or like the nerdy guy, and they gave them like a makeover to make them like, you know, hotter or whatever. And they would start maybe with like glasses and dressed a little bit more casually, and then they would like take off their glasses and give them like a tight dress or like a nice outfit. I'm kind of getting that, but in reverse. Where like the person was obviously still very good looking. Like if you've ever seen those movies, if you know the movie like She's the Man, not She's the Man. What was that one movie with Freddie Prinze Jr. in it? If you remember what I'm talking about, where the girl's like, she's beautiful, but she has like glasses on, and like overall she's like an artist. It's a movie from like the late 90s, early 2000s, and she's obviously very gorgeous. All they do is like take her glasses off, put her hair down, and like put her in a dress, and all of a sudden she's like super beautiful, right? Or considered that by her peers. But when she has her glasses on and stuff, like it's like, oh, like she's just like, normal, average. Some of you people could feel like you water down your looks to be taken more seriously. Queen of Cups in reverse with the Justice. And if you look at this Queen of Cups, like look how pretty she is. She has like her pretty dress on, her hair's down. Very much, yeah. Queen of Cups in reverse. People could assume that you either don't care about love as much, or like love is your last priority. Like your passions, your finances. King of Cups with the Queen of Cups in reverse. People could assume that people love you or fall for you a lot more than you fall for other people or like other people with the Three of Swords. You could be in some sort of healing process right now. I'm kind of seeing, and I've described this previously, but when it comes to the energy of raising your vibration or advancing your energy, it's like before you've raised your vibration and kind of come into yourself, your energy will kind of be all scattered. And as you start your spiritual journey, as you start to work with God to raise your vibration, it's like all the scattered energy in your life will start to slowly come together. And when you have strong energy, it'll be like a tightly woven tapestry. It's like everything will be tight. Your belief in yourself, your feelings about others, your optimism, your relationship with your past, your present, and your future, it'll all be tight. But up until that point, the energy will kind of be scattered. What I'm getting for your energy is you started your journey. You started to raise your vibration and your energy is coming together. It's like that period where all the different energies are coming together. Your responsibilities, your traumas, things from the past, how you manage your reality, how you manage your future, how you feel about your childhood and your past experiences, how you feel about love, how you feel about yourself. It's like all of the energy kind of coming together, but it's harder for people to perceive, if that makes sense. It's like when you really raise your vibration, people will see you exactly as you are. When your vibration is pretty low, I feel like there's usually a lot of like misconceptions. People can't quite figure you out. And so you're kind of in that middle stage right now. But once again, I feel like you're doing it the right way. You're showing up the way that you want to be perceived. But it feels like, once again, like there's something here about people feeling like you are trying to release things from the past that you didn't really like as much. And there could have been some sort of emphasis on your looks or some sort of physical attribute about you that I think you're trying to move past. Knight of Cups here. Why did I just hear the song You Don't Know You're Beautiful by One Direction? I don't know if that resonates for you. Like, once again, there's something here about you. I mean, for some of you, it's because you dress a little bit more modestly or something. You stand out from other people. You don't dress like other people. You don't present yourself like other people. And I think it confuses people a little bit. This is wild. Magician on the top of the deck with Ace of Pentacles. People do feel like you're very blessed. But once again, people kind of assume this must be people you know at this point. People do assume that you're blessed even through like difficult situations. But it does remind me, I was recently, there's a lot of conversations around like attention from other people, you know, and how you show up in the world. And especially too, on this channel, we talk a lot about love and dating, and there's definitely things that make dating harder or easier. And a lot of people are open to that because, you know, I want a partner, I want a good partner. But there's a lot of people who are in that energy of like, I don't want attention from men or women. I don't want to date. I don't care. Like, if that resonates for you, or if it ever did resonate for you, I feel like that energy is coming through really strongly. Now, some of you just dress more modestly, or like, you know, don't wear like a bunch of makeup or anything, which I wear makeup. It's not a problem at all. But I do see that people kind of assume you're doing that to like go against the grain or something. Or like if you have a really nice body, but you kind of wear like looser clothes or cover up a little bit more, people could assume it's like to not get attention or something. Or because like you want to be taken more seriously. It's kind of strange. King of Wands. People could assume that like, I'm getting a lot of channel messages here. People could assume that people kind of go, I'm just going to say it because it's coming through. People go like feral for you. There's something about you. I don't know. And so you have to kind of like temper that, like cover up a little bit more, wear less makeup, or, you know, if you're a man, like, I don't know, like just do things to not like get as much attention. It's like people assume that you want to be taken more seriously with the Emperor and the Ten of Cups. People do assume that you're happy, but it's like people assume that part of your happiness is like not being the center of attention, or like not, yeah, Two of Cups in reverse. But once again, and I think it's really important if this energy resonates for you of being like, I don't care about love, or I'm sick of dating, or I'm sick of... It's really important to just be in tune with yourself and recognize, you know, do you really feel that way? Why do you feel that way? Is that something you really feel strongly about? Because there are people who live their whole lives not in a relationship and are happy. So that's okay. But I do think it's important because I'm getting a little bit of an energy of other people's assumptions, and even you to a small extent not fully being in tune with what you really desire. Because that energy does come through really strongly, and it could be resonating for someone. Now, this could be an energy that you're moving out of, where in the past you were just like, you know, I even personally remember being an angsty, you know, preteen and being like, love isn't real, you know, and obviously moving past that. But I recognize this energy. And so I think it's really important just for you to kind of get in tune with yourself and say, okay, what do I really want? What do I really feel? Is this coming from a place of like pain? Or is this genuinely the key to my happiness? You know, and I'm thinking back on the comments I see where people are like, I don't want men or women to even look at me. And it's like, is that the key to your happiness, or is that from trauma? And I feel like that could be a really nice way to kind of bring this energy together even more, so that we could be a little bit more aligned with what we really want. Does that make sense? Because once again, it's like, I feel like people are assuming in terms of everything else outside of love and connection, like life is great for you. You're doing really well. You look attractive. But I see it here, like some sort of pain energy that's coming through. Seven of Cups, yeah. And it's like, once again, Seven of Cups, the energy's a bit confused. And I'll say this, you know, if this is an energy you want to move out of, you can check out Pile 1. I'm not sure how Pile 2 is going to look quite yet. But Pile 1, like, they felt very aligned. Like, the way that people perceived them and what people assumed about them was very aligned with who they actually were. And I feel like you can either you're moving out of this energy, or you will be moving out of this energy. And maybe this is your authentic energy. Once again, with the Two of Cups in reverse and the Ten of Cups, there's plenty of people, like you've seen those interviews of people who've lived to 100. And they're like, what was your secret to such a long life? And they're like, not dating, not being in a relationship. So if that makes you happy, if that's what you want, that's totally okay. But just really make sure that it's coming from a place of your personal happiness, you know, and not from pain. And if you ever want to work on it, if you ever want to kind of move past it and get to a more content space, please leave a comment, or you can email me or message me. I would love to kind of give some personal advice on how to move forward in that journey. But that's what I have for you. I mean, all in all, it's good energy, but there's definitely some sort of assumption here that love is just not on the agenda. Like, attention from other people is just not what you want. And that's okay. But just make sure it's coming from a place of fulfilling you and making you happy. All right, that's what I have for you, pile 2. But I do hope this resonated. I hope this is helpful for you. Definitely a little bit more of a complex energy, but I think we got to the root of it. And honestly, your energy is very beautiful. Just make sure that you're really operating from a space of your own happiness and contentment. Okay, that's what I have for you. So if you're curious, you can check out one of the other piles. You can watch one of my other videos. You can check out my Patreon for exclusive videos and conversations. And of course, you can always book a personal reading with me if you would like me to read the energy in your situation. But thank you so much, pile 2. Until I see you next time, stay safe, stay blessed, and God bless you. Hi, pile 3. So if you chose a third pile, then this is your reading on what do people assume about you when people meet you or interact with you. What assumptions do they make about you? Okay, so first and foremost, very forthright, very honest individual. People could assume that you are willing to speak up for yourself or just kind of come forward, kind of no matter what the consequences are. I'm just seeing someone who, like, people assume that you do not really have social anxiety like that. Very stable as well with the King of Pentacles. People could assume that you're quite well off here. You're doing very well for yourself. 4 of Pentacles as well. I've been getting a lot of this energy of people who are doing well for themselves, but you don't seem like you overspend. You seem very discerning with your money as well. Like, people could assume that you are not afraid to say no to a situation, a purchase. You kind of like dictate how an interaction goes, like how, by the way that you carry yourself. People could assume that you're like traveled here, worldly. You very much have this energy of someone who's kind of the master of their own reality, very confident individual. I'm like so curious because there's something kind of imperceptible about this energy. All right, we have the 10 of Pentacles on the top of the deck. So, what? I've been getting so many interesting messages just kind of popping into my head. So with the 10 of Pentacles, yeah, the Tower and the Ace of Swords, people could assume that you have some sort of background where, have you ever heard of the term FU money? Like FU money? People could assume that you have a level of stability where you don't have to put up with anything or like deal with anything if you don't want to. Let's see. 6 of, wow, very successful individual here. Oh my gosh, yeah. People definitely assume that you will reject anyone or anything if it is not what you want or if it's not in alignment with you. If some of you are ever like out and about, like I'm getting like in public, if you're like shopping or somewhere where like money can be spent, people assume that you like just don't like what's like for offer. Like you could get stuff like you, but there's something about where like you'll kind of look at things and be like, no, I'm okay. I don't really need anything, or I don't really want anything here. I don't know. The Justice. People assume that you like quality people, quality items, quality experiences, connections. 7 of Swords. Let's see. 7 of Swords with the Queen of Wands. And there's all these kings here as well. It's reminding me a little bit of pile 1 as well too, where somebody could be messier than they are, or somebody could like, you have a very strong energy. For a lot of you, you look really good, you look stable, there's something charming about you. The Tower to the Ace of Swords. Okay, I don't know why this is coming through, but if this resonates for you, you can definitely check out pile 1, because pile 3 feels like a slightly stronger, more intense version of pile 1, where you have a lot of really nice qualities where if you wanted to cause problems for people, you could, but you don't. Okay, I'm just going to speak really plainly because it's coming through really strongly. I don't know how you carry yourself. I don't know how you look, but wow. Okay, Queen of Pentacles, once again. Okay. So the initial image, the initial assumption is that you're quite well off. You carry, once again, you walk with your back straight, head held high. Like you look like someone who, you know, has got something. You know, you've got something. And people assume that if you wanted to, let's just speak really plainly, like you could be really snooty, you could be, taking people's partners, or you could be, rude to staff. I don't know, there's something here about you, like you could be way worse in terms of your behavior. I don't know why this is coming through this way. 4 of Wands. But no, instead you carry yourself in a very forthright energy. And even if you are like, okay, say for instance, you're at a restaurant and they're like, oh, do you want dessert? And you're like, no, like I'm okay. But like, I don't know why people assume that you could be like a lot like harsher or meaner or more judgmental or act like you're better than other people. I don't know why this is coming through this way. It's not, once again, it's not a bad energy for you at all. Knight of Pentacles and the 7 of Cups. It's like you choose to be in a more humble energy. This is so interesting. But I've been picking up on this energy a lot, and I'll be honest, for a lot of the collective, if you've been kind of following along with this energy and making these implementations into your life, speaking well, carrying yourself in high regard, having good manners, dressing nicely, people are going to assume, because that's not a super common energy nowadays, it's just not. And people are going to assume that you have elevated status because of it. I don't think you do it for that reason. But there's something here about people assuming that you have some sort of elevated status and being very surprised that you're not like rude or snooty, like you have manners. Queen of Cups, once again, that you're loving, that you're kind. It's definitely reminding me of the fashion and style reading that we did recently, where you do have kind of this elevated energy about you. And it's not, you're not like a doormat. It's like you say no often, but in like a very nice way. Like, and you seem confident, but not like arrogant. Ace of Pentacles, Queen of Pentacles. People definitely assume that you are very fortunate financially. And I'll be honest, especially too, if you have a good relationship with God, that confidence and that faith that you get from God, people will misinterpret it and think it's because of like money or status or something. And, people talk about that a lot, how people with a lot of money will kind of walk around like they have not a care in the world because, they're not worried. And like, once again, for some of you, I think, God is helping you make sure your needs are met. You're stable. But for whatever reason, people are misinterpreting your energy a lot as someone who has like a good amount of money. For some of you, that could be true. Knight of Wands in reverse. Not hasty. You don't have a temper. You're not rude. So I think what's happening is people immediately see you or first meet you, and there's this feeling of like, oh gosh, like look at them, like they look, really well put together, or, they look really confident, really comfortable in themselves, and kind of maybe they've met other people who have a similar demeanor and they've been really rude or really snooty. And, I'll be honest with you, this is one of my big pet peeves. Going into spaces, affluent spaces, and seeing people just be so rude and act so snooty and arrogant, it really, really is one of my big pet peeves. I think one of the best indicators of class is good manners, and being kind and being respectful and warm to others. Don't treat anyone like they're below you. But I do see that people meet you and assume that you're gonna treat them that way, and then you don't. But I think people really like it. 2 of Swords, Death, and the 6 of Cups, once again. It's like we're not only getting people's assumptions, but the energy around the assumptions that people make. So people initially make that assumption that you're going to be very just like snooty. Like I just keep getting that word. But then you treat people either like they're a friend or just like very kind, like how you would treat someone you love and respect. 8 of Wands. Or like people assume like you won't even like want to talk to them, or that you'll just like dismiss them. I heard for some of you, especially if you ever go to like a nicer restaurant, you like say thank you whenever the staff brings you something. This is so nice. I'm telling you, wow. This is coming through really strongly. It's like this pile is probably the most kind of transformative in terms of people assumptions. It's like people assume something that turns out to be totally different, and it's like their assumption transforming as they interact with you. Once again, it's like you choose to be humble. 9 of Swords, 8 of Cups, and the 8 of Swords. Oh, I'm also getting how people feel about the assumptions they make about you. So I do feel like people actually feel guilty about this as well, because I'll be honest, people could assume based on how you carry yourself that you're going to be rude. Like, some of you might even have like RBF, which I mean, I can kind of relate to sometimes. I typically am pretty smiley, even if I'm just kind of like walking around. But people could feel really bad about assuming that you're going to be rude or like stuck up, but you're really not. But people feel really, really bad about it. Like, even after they interact with you, like, they feel bad for assuming that in the first place. People could even, like, look at you and be like, oh, I bet they're, like, full of themselves, or I bet they're going to be rude, or they think they're better, or whatever. And then you're super nice and friendly, and they just feel terrible. Yeah, look at this. But once again, and this is the last thing I will say. So, I talk with, the people in my life, I talk with them about this kind of thing a lot, because I know a lot of successful people. I know people who very much embody this 9 of Pentacles, 10 of Pentacles energy of being very well off, and I don't care how much money you have. Like, I just will never have respect for people who act like they are just so much better, or they're like super rude to stuff. Like, it's very classless. And I'll say this, you do not need to have money to have class. Being respectful to others, being kind to others, treating people with respect, not treating anyone like they're above or below you. That is the true mark of class. And I feel like a lot of people, when they meet you, maybe they just assume based on the way that you present yourself that you're going to be kind of like that snooty, arrogant kind of person. But people actually assume that you come from, not only a stable background, but a very classy background. Like, someone who, it's almost like people assume you have even more because you don't act like you have so much more. And this is an energy that's been coming through a lot, and you will see this even if you're not like a rich person or have a lot of money. If you carry yourself well, people are going to assume that you have a lot. And that's also a great way to manifest having more, being in this kind of energy. So you'd be surprised as well, the fact that you don't act snooty, the fact that you're not like, oh, I'm so great, or I have all this money, or anything like that, especially if that's already the case for you. I'm not sure why people are making this assumption, but once again, like I said, if you dress well and you carry yourself well, people are going to assume you have money, point blank period. But the fact that you don't act like super extravagant or super snooty, super judgmental, people actually assume that you have a lot, just so you know. So once again, I'm seeing like this weird transformative energy in people's assumptions. They assume you're going to be kind of like rude and snooty because you look like you're doing pretty well for yourself. But the fact that you are kind, you have manners, you are respectful and warm to others, people assume that you have a lot. That you're not only rich financially, but that you are rich in love and rich in positive connections. So it's a funny energy, but also with this energy, you could already be in the energy of having what you're going to have in the future. So you might not have a lot of money now, but based on these cards, you're going to have a lot of money in the future. And this is a beautiful energy to be in, maintaining a level of humility, of kindness, of grace, good manners. It's a beautiful, beautiful energy. Try to avoid that energy of looking down on others as much as you can. And once again, you could be a good looking person, and people could assume you're going to look down on them because of that. Or you're really fit, or you're traveled, or you might have a good amount of money, but avoid that energy. I think that this energy is so beautiful, and you will be recognized by the right people by being in this very upright, beautiful energy. That's what I have for you, Pile 3. Really interesting messages today, but that's what I have for you. So I do hope this resonated. I hope this was helpful for you. You can feel free to check out one of the other piles if you're curious. You can watch one of my other videos. You can check out my Patreon for exclusive videos and conversations. And of course, you can always book a personal reading with me if you would like me to read the energy in your situation. But thank you so much, Pile 3. Beautiful messages all around for everyone. So thank you all so much once again. And until I see you next time, stay safe, stay blessed, and God bless you.